Hello, boys. Hello, children of Sanctuary. Have you had your breakfast this morning? Let's talk about it. This is going to be an Amazon build. I don't have many of these on my channel. I'm not a big fan of Amazon. It's not my favorite, most notably because it's very hard to do things like think of ideas when you're just lobbed with specifically bow and crossbow, tree, specifically just passive and magic skills, and then only javelin and spear. So this is a variant of a fend and jab zone, but with a more fire touch. So we're going to be focusing on using fire damage from Hands of Justice, which could be made in a spear, and also dragon. That's our main bump. Alright, let's go over the gear. Stat, skills, gear, and then, I don't know, we've got strength. Base value is 44, pretty decent. Dragon base does give us a good little chunk there, so that's nice. The only rollable stat is from 3 to 5 attributes, so that's cool. So whenever you roll it, you guarantee the main stats that you care about. Dexterity. I'll put a little bit extra in here. We do need some so we can actually wield a certain base, you know. So this we have 142 requirement for the spear, and we also have the opportunity to use a pike as well, which is 645. Whatever your preference is for the two, for me, I'm going to keep my Hand of Justice on here in my spear for now. Vitality, we can put all the rest. There's quite a lot you can fit in here. I've got 450. Resistance is pretty decent, I would say. And we'll move over to skills. Obviously, javelin and spear skills is going to be the main chunk. This is very similar to another Fenzon variant, which you might see on this channel later on. But jab is maxed out. 1 to impale, max out fend. Next. Passive skills, 1.1 across the board. We are maxing out Valkyrie. We have enough to put excess into decoy. That leaves us penetrate maxed for attack rating. Crit strike up to 9 with our plus skills. It gets severe diminishing returns, so that's good enough for me. You know, if you put like an extra 11 points in, it's only going to result in, you know, less than 8% or so. Whatever. Bow and crossbow is nothing. But a good option if you want a switch. You might remember one of my only other Amazon builds, I had my Aratha set. On switch I had CTA made in a matriarchal bow, and then I used that to not only just cast all my battle orders, but also to shoot with freezing arrow and ice arrow, just to add a bit of crowd control on switch, which worked quite well. But for this part we're using spears. Let's go through the skills and gear. So, as I said, Hands of Justice, this is the main piece. We've got 16 Holy Fire, which is adding on top of our Holy Fire of Dragon. So that's totaling to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 30. Level 30 Holy Fire. Now, the only other place we can kind of amp up our fire damage in total from these skills is going to be from here. Okay, so I've opted for a faster run walk, Artisan's Diadem, a speed. Very expensive, but this is all just best case scenario. You boys know how I roll, okay? 3 facets, good minus res, plus 15 is important because it amps not only our level 30 Holy Fire, it amps our dragon, our Hydras from our dragon, and it also amps up our obedience on switch. So instead of using a CTA, I found this to work extremely well in a couple of cases. 1, give us efficient attack rating from enchant. 2, give us more fire damage on top, which is buffed by our helm. And 3, it gives us great resistances in conjunction with Crushing Blow, which we can switch to nuke down single target and bosses. Okay? That's why I have my faster spear on my front to take out all of the Hydras, to kind of blind everything, make it very safe when we fend inside of a group. And then we just nuke everything down, boys. Okay? Now the rest of what I have is Laying of Hands, damage to demons is beautiful, fire res helps counteract the flame rift, dual leech, crazy stats, whatever, it's placeholder. We have 2-piece IK for attack rating and a bit of magic find. You can switch around these depending on what you want. Yes, Gore Riders is an option and whatnot, but you're kind of free to choose between these. I preferred having the stats, the resistances, the life, and the attack rating, but I would say it's a more flexible shot on this build. Now we've got Raven Frost, we also have Cat's Eye for movement speed, attack rating, good defense, dexterity is beautiful, and we'll move on. So, Flame Rift, we have life as an all-res, we have max damage attack rating and life, and then a Nihilus Torch. Okay? The obedience we have made in a man catcher, and again that's mainly for single target. Now for the rest to shift on, we've got our mercenary is might to bump up physical damage. We have fortitude, Andes, and infinity, so we do a little bit more on the fire damage. So let's check what the difficulty is set to, and then we'll hop into some gameplay. We have players 1. That's a good place to start. Alright, boys. How long is the loading screen going to be? Pretty quick. That's not bad. So, for our Valkyrie, that's going to hop out at level 24. We also have use of slow missiles and inner sight if we want to. I do like using slow missiles, probably more so. Physical damage received is reduced by 20% on the screen. Ranged attacks are slowed. It's very good because Fend, we want to run in the midst of everything. Fend all around us, right? Works a bit differently to Zeal. And then we switch to Mancatcher and finish them off. So I'm going to start with Obedience. I'm going to get a couple of kills and get my enchant up. There we go. Enchant is up. I switch back. My attack rating is absolutely gorgeous. I probably have more than I need. And then we can finish off here. It's a very safe build. Even though my res is not maxed, even though my life could be higher without CTA, I found that I didn't really need it, to be honest. With Hands of Justice, although it's not strong physically in comparison to using something like a Breath of the Dying, not only does it look cool when you're doing things like this and summoning all the dragons, but using Freeze's target and Blind's target on here is quite underrated. It helps a lot when using Fend, when we want to run right in the midst of everything, like this. All of those enemies are blind, and we can switch over to Mancatcher and absolutely destroy single target and champ packs. Beautiful, boys. And this slow missile is doing some work. Let's find another place to shift to. I think Canyon of Magi would be good, and we would chuck the player count up to P3. And then we have a look, boys. We'll have a look. Now there is the Matriarchal Pike as an option. You can switch and gain Hustle to up your frames of Fend. There's different ways you can build around it, but I preferred this option of having really good attack speed and boss killing speed, but then also crowd control from Hands of Justice. So, forgive me while I change this to Plays 3. Fuck it, I'll do it in gameplay so you always can see. 1, 2, 3. Done. Clock that down. So, Obedience, my damage here with Jab and Fend, 3,400, 4,500 on Fend. I'm going to switch back to my Hands of Justice here. Get some dragons out. Switch myself back. Beautiful. Let's find some more of these massive boys, the Crushers. Fend is a little bit different to Zeal, for those who are familiar with it. If there is, I'd say, 1 to less mobs on the screen, you're better off finishing off with Jab. Also for single target, obviously using Jab to finish off. Fend is better when there's multiple adjacent targets. So running in, proccing all your dragons to start with. So for here, look, they're all around us. Fend is very well at attacking multiple enemies. So Fend first, and then finish off with Jab. Here we are, slow missiles. Beautiful. Still very strong for players 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stay on this side. I'm going to change the player count to 8. See if we can clear a little bit on the side over here, and maybe try a different area like the pits to finish off. There we are. Now with the increased health total with this, I'm suspecting that Obedience is going to help pull a little bit more weight than usual. There we are, blind target does its work. Still functions well on players 8. Even with a small life pool, Amazon is very tanky when making a melee type build. And I would recommend looking into this again if you guys are keen on trying some type of you know, spears on, if you're getting bored of, you know, Javazon or just something with bows, right? It's a good option. Now, I'm going to finish off with a pit run, or maybe half of a pit run. We'll go Outer Cloister. This is Players 8 currently, and we'll see how that kind of runs, how smooth it is. With the amount of physical damage we're dealing in comparison to fire damage, obviously our physical damage is more. There's different ways you can build it, right? How much physical damage do you want to go? How much fire damage do you want to do? You know, do you want to do a bit of a hybrid? It depends on where you're farming and how you're farming. We definitely can put more fire damage into this build and fill out maybe fire damage small charms like you boys maybe seen in my Grimward Ranger Barbarian video, right? Depends on how you want to build it. But for main pieces of gear for fire damage, I would suggest these three. Hands of Justice Dragon for level 30 Holy Fire total with Dragon, well, Summoning Hydra, sorry. And then you've got your Artisan, which is an easy option to bump that up. Still very efficient on Players 8. The pit should be just over this side here. Here we are, boys. Alright, let's give Obedience some work now that our Mat Spear is pretty much broken. Durability is kind of difficult when using two-handers sometimes. But it's not too expensive to repair. You can always save your excess runes and your riles to repair through. We still get our Hydras summoning from our Dragon chest, so we're not missing out that on the Hands of Justice. If you're concerned about the durability, the Mancatcher is 28 by 28, exactly the same as the Mat Spear. It'd be a good option to use two to switch between and use them for different mob types or different areas, right? And where you're actually farming. So how I find feels kind of nice having Obedient for single target and then switch to the Mat Spear, as I said earlier, for a bit of crowd control, doing things like this. So this gives you a bit of an idea on the, you know, the effort that this can put in. This is Players 8 in the pits. We still get things done. It's still a viable build. Depends on how fast you want to do. I mean, you boys know the stuff that I cover is not meta breaking, you know, but it's a new way to look at things. It's a new way that's viable, give you a fresh start. Let's finish these skeletons and we'll call the video there. Yes, there we go. Drill it away, good girl. Get in. That's us, boys. This is the Dragon Holy Fire Fenzon. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you around, boys.